off for us in Nova Scotia, so there might be a bit of delay, so it will be 48 business hours. The presentation slides are also going to be shared. All microphones should be automatically set in muted mode. If by accident you're joining the webinar and you realize you're not in muted mode, please mute yourself. You can always ask questions using the chat. Theo is going to keep an eye on it and also accepting people waiting in the lobby. And if you have any further questions, you can always contact me at housing@nscc.ca. Having said this, I want to open up saying that I'm welcoming you from Turtle Island, which is also known as Canada, and I'm very honoured and pleased to speak from Mi'kma'ki, which is the unceded territory and ancestral homeland of the Mi'kmaq Nation. And when I open presentations, and this presentation or any presentation really, I'm reminded that we're all guided by a spirit of welcome, connection to the land and to its people. This place has significance and we have an obligation to share the stewardship of this land, and I think it's very important. So it is with this spirit that we gathered here today to discuss any supports for your arrival in Nova Scotia. And I really urge you to make time of your part of your journey also to learn about the Mi'kmaq Nation and its very rich culture. So I've included a link with some resources, hoping that this is only a start for you to learn more. I have sort of like 3 items in the agenda today. They're quite dense. They can be quite dense in a sense. What to do at the airport, or arriving, in terms of like arriving at the airport and then transferring to your campus and so on. Your first few days in Nova Scotia and your first few weeks. I realize that there are many students who are already in Canada, perhaps staying with some relatives and friends, or some of you perhaps have already arrived. We're trying to give it sort of like like mainstream scenario, recognizing that all of you have different needs, and so maybe sometimes what we're talking about does or does not apply to you. But these are the things that we thought were the most important for you to know. And I'm also looking sometimes at some notes on a different screen, so you have to excuse me. Sometimes you see my head wandering and going around. So the one of the first things that we thought to really to say with you and to mention and be sure that you knew is that we're expecting and experiencing, like the students are coming here, quite a few delays in flights and airports. While this can always happen, we're noticing that they're happening with more frequency. So please have your essential needs packed in your carry-on for any unexpected delays or overnight stays. What do I mean with this? Not just the important documents for immigration that you might need, but maybe toothbrush, small blankets, medicines, chargers and adapters, something that sometimes we just put them in the luggage and then our phone is about to die with battery very low and we don't know how to charge it, and then we need to buy them at the airport and they're even more expensive. So just think about these little things. Like what would you need in case your luggage or your pieces of luggage were to be lost for even up to a week, because it depends on where you're going, where your campus is. If your campus perhaps is in Halifax and you're very close to the airport, it might just be a couple of days. If you're staying in a rural campus, then it might take even up to a week. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but just think about those essential things. We also want to, it was a piece of advice that the student gave to us. If you still have to book your flight, consider layovers, perhaps long layovers, just because airports seem to be quite congested. And know your rights. If a flight is delayed or cancelled, you have the right to receive accommodation, not if it's for your fault. Not if you miss a flight because you were doing something else, but if it happens to you, that is the company's problem, you have some rights to accommodation. So you can find a lot of information on the iSent app, especially there's a box that is like planning your arrival with a couple of tips and things that you can find, or also on our website, and I included a code up there. A very important message and takeaway: please be mindful that your health insurance starts only from September 1st. So with NSCC. So if you arrive in Canada and in Nova Scotia, say August 20th, because you would like a couple of days to settle down before and to set up before, your courses start, you will not be covered by NSCC. So you need to arrange an emergency travel insurance. This is really, really important. So these are like just to cover the basics. Then we thought to give you some advice in terms of arranging transportation to leave the airport and to go to your accommodation. So once again, you have to account for some delays in taxi booking, cancellations. But what we would suggest to do is that you have a couple of options in terms of thinking, what if things go right and what if things go wrong? So my flight is on time, I arrive there and I pre-book a taxi. And you can pre-book a taxi by using the iSent app. Again, in one of the two icons, I think is planning for your arrival. There there's something saying arranging for a taxi airport pickup, and there are three taxi companies. They agreed to have a good price for NSCC students, so that would be good. If your campus is not in HRM, meaning Halifax Regional Metropolis, so not in Halifax, not in Dartmouth, you really need to check on how to transfer from there, from the Halifax airport to your campus, because very often there will be a bus or a shuttle, and then sometimes when they leave, they don't they just operate, say, a few days a week, or perhaps it's daily. They operate daily, but not at the time that you like. So when that happens, you really need to think about what do you do. Like, do you book perhaps an overnight stay in Halifax and then you transfer the following day? Or maybe you come in with too many pieces of luggage and a taxi is the only option. But it's if it's very expensive, for example, for some campuses very far away, you might even consider renting a car or so on. So you see the QR code that I put there. It connects you directly with the transportation page that we have online. So that will also be helpful. And as I said, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat as well. We thought also about one of the basic necessities, which is food. So you can imagine perhaps your flight is delayed and you're arriving in the middle of the night and your hotel is no longer serving food and you don't know what to do, and try to pack something. Obviously, the picture has some very fresh food that I don't think that you will be allowed perhaps to carry everywhere. But just the idea is for you to plan about some light snacks in your carry-on luggage in case of late arrival or or just being a bit hungry. If you're staying in a hotel, ask them if they can arrange any late meals, because they might even just buy something for you and put it in a package and leave it in your bedroom. That could be done. You could also ask some local grocery stores if they can do some deliveries, pre-book them in advance so that you will have some food when you arrive in your Airbnb or anything like that. You can use the iSent app. If you look under the About Your Campus, I would say icon, then there's something that you can click and it will be groceries, and there you can find your groceries. If your campus is, I'm saying Truro, but you're staying an overnight in Halifax, then just use the app, but use it to check on, say, IT Campus or Dartmouth, the closest possible, and then you will find a list of groceries close to where you're going to stay versus where your campus is. So I'm hoping that would be useful. And with this should conclude the first, perhaps say like 24 hours. Try to relax and recover a little bit if it's possible. It's really, really important that you do that because it can be very overwhelming. It's a different climate, perhaps, different time zone, a lot of emotions. You left some people behind with all the curiosity and good vibes and feelings about what you're going to find, but there's a lot of emotional labor as well when you're leaving. So take the opportunity to try and recover a little bit, and the following day will look a lot brighter. Try to have a good meal, connect with family and friends at home, let them know that you arrived and that you're safe. If there's anything at that point that concerns you, that you feel scared, that you don't know, feel free to send me an email. Housing@nscc.ca. I'm only a team call away, so that's also something that you can do if you feel that you need. Once you are well rested, you're up and about, and then you can start with small yet really, really important things to do. One of the first things that you should do is really getting a phone and a SIM card. And by the way, you can do that also before leaving your country. So I've put some information there. Whenever you see on the presentation the iSend app, is because the information is also in the iSend app. And I've also left a couple of, again, codes that you can scan to find what I'm talking about in terms of telephone. So one would be guiding you through some phone plans and providers, and one is specific to a link for a phone box, which is a company that allows you to buy a SIM card when you're still in your home country and receive it, so it just activates when you arrive in Canada. If you haven't done that, you can easily use Google Maps to find a local shopping center or more and just say, I'd like to buy a SIM and a phone. That's also possible. So you will want to check some transportation means to move around. I find in HRM is perhaps a little bit easier because there are some buses in places. If you happen to live in perhaps in a campus that hasn't got transportation and you need to go to the shopping mall, account for time, like getting a bit lost, not knowing exactly where to go. You could take a taxi, you could walk, but just try to take it easy. It's you're on a mission and that will take you perhaps a couple of hours, but it's very important that you do this. The other thing that you probably want to do, I would say almost immediately after, is open a bank account, and you should do that as soon as you can. Use the tools that you have on the again on the iSend app and the website to learn about banking, and especially to learn to learn if there's like a good banking option that you want. In some cases, it's possible to open an account when you're still in your home country, then it activates when you arrive in Canada. So book an appointment, and remember to book an appointment is very important. You can't just walk in and say, I'd like to open a bank account. It doesn't really work that way. And you should ask what documents you need to have with you, because the last thing you want is arranging your appointment, waiting perhaps for a week or 10 days to finally have your appointment, and you're showing up there and your documents are just not what you needed. So usually, just to give you a rule of thumb, you will need your passport, probably your letter, and confirmation of enrollment, proving that you're a student, because you're going to open a student account has a lot of advantages. August, if you're coming in August, and I think most of you will be, it's a very busy month. So don't be alarmed if it takes you up to a week to get an appointment. What it means for you, though, is that you need to have some cash to survive the first perhaps days or week. You don't want to carry around a large amount of money in cash. It's not super safe, but it's a fine balance, because if you use your credit card abroad for everything, it could really become expensive in terms of fees. So try to book an appointment even now. Call the bank or send them an email and say, when do you expect I'll be able to do so? And then based on that, if you know that from the moment you arrive to the moment that you have the appointment is only a couple of days, plan for the cash in that sense is going to be useful. This slide is not really for everyone, but we thought to include it because very, very often getting a Canadian driving license is not really what you do as soon as you arrive, because it takes time, it takes months. But some students coming from the countries that you see listed below actually try and do it as soon as you can, because then they can get their license. They can convert it very, very easily. So when this is done, you can check it off your list. So if you have a driving license from Austria, Belgium, Germany, Isle of Man, South Korea, Taiwan, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, it's very easy for you to convert your license. If not, and if driving is still a priority and you want to have a vehicle to move around, I would suggest that you look on our website, and it will take you to the, I think, the Access Nova Scotia site. That's how we linked it. And then you have all the information about what to do and how to start the process, because it's a bit long if there's no conversion and if you need to retake your license. So for some of you, it'll be a priority, for some others not. here is where we really wanted to make sure that in the next, say in the following weeks, so you got your phone number, you're finding your food, you're getting used to the community. But I'm thinking perhaps 3, 4 days or even the week after you arrive, you will really want to connect with your campus. They'll be so excited to see you after 2 years of almost like online orientations and everything. They'll be really happy to see you. You can connect with your campus services and find all the resources that are there for you, from lockers to food pantry in case of need, to library services, and also, of course, ways to connect with the Student Association or the International Student Ambassador program. And I think, Theo, would you like to step in and say something? And would you like me to stop sharing my presentation if you have something that you would like to share, or just say a couple of words?
Yeah, everything is clear, and I really believe this is really helpful for everyone. And there are some of questions in the chat room, so maybe we
Perfect.
can move next stage to solve the student questions.
Yes. Did you want to say something about this International Student Ambassador Program, or would you prefer to say it in the end?
Yeah, maybe at the end after we solve all
Perfect.
the.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. So just look on the iSent up for some information. You have the websites, the QRM there as well. And I would say try to be involved as much as you can. It's an amazing opportunity both to be in the Student Association or the International Student Ambassador Program. So you really should. With time, we don't want you to feel overwhelmed, but just with time, get used to um, get familiar, I would say, no more than used to, get familiar with what you have around you for sure. Um, a very important reminder is that I think from August 5th or something, we will really do our best to just communicate with you through your school email. So right now, any email that you send me, I've always replied. If it was Gmail, Hotmail, anything, we really didn't care. But from August on, so when you, I didn't really know a date, but I would say moving forward to whenever it's closer for you to really start school, we will use your NSCC email. So how is it? It's your W number at nscc.ca. If it's not clear to you how to activate the account, what it is, you can look on our website as well. But important information will be emailed to you to that account. So check it daily at least. Really do the effort to do so. And closing to the end, we have a lot more resources on our website as well, and we recorded many webinars even last year. We had sessions and webinars that we had available to support you if you need to enroll your child in school, how to make friends, how to get connected, how to find what you need, especially when, well, now it's summer, but there will be a point where it will get a little bit colder. So we had some sessions to prepare students for the winter, find some employment for yourself, your spouse or partner, how to apply for a social insurance number. So these are all things that you will find on our website and in our resources. And of course, we're here for you. If you need any support, you can contact me personally at housing@nscc.ca. You also have some emails here for like international ambassadors or international students. Um, this really brings to the end of the presentation, and I'm happy to start taking any questions if there are. Just a word of advice, we're not exactly talking about housing at the moment. I know that some of you might have this concern. I will try to touch base if that's a concern, but we're really trying to talk about arrival, transportation, making sure that you arrive to your campus and where you need to be. We have sessions every Thursday about housing. You can always book an appointment one-on-one with me. So we feel like we really try to support the students in the last couple of months. And this session is more about arrival. So happy to take any questions. How do we want to do this? Do I go up from the very beginning, or do you? Let's do this. Okay. I am going back to So I'm just reading them. Is that okay, Theo? Or did you want to flag them and then I think you're on muted mode, sorry. You're still on muted mode.
Sorry.
It's
Probably
okay.
I can read the question from the
Yes,
beginning.
yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. What about if the study permit takes longer and I miss the start? The first question.
I would say you really need to be here for September 6th. I'm not aware of any online courses. Some components of the classes might be online, but you really need to be here. So my best advice would be to talk to your international student advisor. They will know all the in and outs, but 95%, I think their reply is going to be like mine. You really need to be here. You even missing orientation is a problem. We have very short courses packed with stuff. So if you're missing a couple of classes, it does not set you for success.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave the link to meet the international advisor in the chat room so you guys can
Perfect.
save it to meet them. And second question is, how long does it usually take to receive the study permit at the airport? I have a layover in Toronto.
The minimum layover suggested for a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen that doesn't have to go through customs, it's usually 2 hours. This is the suggested. So imagine it's very busy, it's packed, it's August, and I would say between an hour and perhaps 2 hours. Consider that you might also be selected for perhaps random COVID testing, which doesn't mean that you have to wait for your test results, but it's, they need to explain you need to get the package and so on. So I would say a long layover. Personally, as an international student, I would say a minimum is probably 4 hours. I would feel uncomfortable with less than 4 hours from what I'm hearing from students.
Yeah. Next one is if the work permit doesn't come through, for example, and the first term has been paid for, what will happen? Should I also email the college about it?
Just looking, the work permit? Do you mean
Yeah.
the study
Can you
permit?
hear me? Yeah, work permit. Mostly some of the students can have a co-work permit, then allow them to work as a part-time for 20 hours. I think, yeah,
So you
in that
mean the
case, they
co-op
are,
permit? Okay, because
yeah,
it's if you still mean the study permit, then there will be refunds. So there's definitely some refunds. So the $1,000 that you're paying to apply are never refundable. But like some, you can get some money back. You might not get everything back though, so you need to be careful with the deadlines. Maybe we can leave a link there for like specific withdrawal and how to get your money back for that. Um, I don't think at this stage is that you have to email the college. If we can just put you a link. If you're talking about the study permit, I know it's 12 weeks. The co-op permit should be coming with the study permit. Like you should receive, if you've applied together, you will receive it at the airport, but you should have permission for that. So if you're receiving it, then once you're at the airport, you will be giving it at the same time, but it's 12 weeks. If you're talking about that kind of permit. So any other questions, yes, talk to your student advisor, but probably we can give you a guideline with the links. Yeah.
yeah. I think Rehab has any additional comment. Could you please turn on your speaker, mic, and share your comments, Rehab?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm the one with a lot of questions.
Okay.
So
Just
yeah, I meant the study permit. Normally it took me like 2 weeks to gather all my documents because I live in the UAE. And then when I checked how long it will take for it to be processed, it said that will take 12 weeks.
yes.
So if it actually takes 12 weeks, it will be, I think, the first or second week of September. So even if I get the study permit, I can leave and go straight away to Canada. Like it's fine. But my question is, what if it takes longer and I don't get an answer? Do I have to contact someone else to give me, to tell me what I can expect?
Yes, I would say in this point, really talk to your international student advisor. It will be either Jenny or Mike or Farhana, depending on where your campus is, because you really have to plan it with your calendar and say, when did you, when did you apply? And then there isn't a lot of information that they can give in terms of updates. If it's 12 weeks, there is the risk that then you receive it and then school starts and you can't be here. So it's risky and you need to know what to do. I know that some fees are refundable up to probably the day of classes start, and then there's a little bit less. So I'm sure that we've put a link for you so that you can see how much money is refundable. But any other question would be most likely for your advisors. I can just give you some sort of guidelines, but they will help you more in terms of what to do, defer, withdraw, what best to do, hope, hold on, and so on.
Thank you so much. You answered my
You're very
question. Thank you,
welcome.
guys.
I leave the link to meet our international advisor in the chat room. I highly recommend to make a book to meet them. They have all the information and they're gonna be your best friend to solve your all concerns. But probably, yeah, definitely you need to get a permit on time. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
next question.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Next question is, do we need to book an appointment for any kind of transaction? What kind of transaction? And Ria means if you have any idea, please describe more detail about the transaction. That will be helpful to give answer. Yeah. And next question is how we can book a taxi from airport. Is there any app or something? Definitely there will be Uber or such a things like that, but NSCC will give you by email some discount coupon to book a limo. And there is another concierge section in the airport. You can call the taxi. And Ilaria, do you have any other
Yes, I would
information?
say I'm not really aware of any coupons that can be given to students because I'm thinking not perhaps for students who are coming in September, like maybe scholarship students. So it might be just slightly different. So my best advice would be to use the iSent app and go on the arrival, like the plan for your trip. And then there will be something about arranging a taxi. And if you click there, there's at least 3 companies have agreed to give some discounts. So then you're spending less. If you even just want to show up and it's a bit risky, but like some students just don't want to pre-plan, they prefer this way. And then yes, as you were saying, you can just go at the desk and then ask for a taxi. There will be one. There are some buses that will take you from the airport to say Dartmouth or Halifax. They're not super well equipped when it comes to pieces of luggage. These are like normal transit buses. So what I found was very difficult when I was traveling and I had lots of things is that there isn't really a physical place to store them. These are not buses for thought or conceived for this transfer. So you just you need to see if you're traveling very light, perfect. It's $3.50. If it's during the day, amazing. If it's late at night, you have a lot of things, perhaps even children, then it becomes it's probably a taxi the best bet.
Okay. And Andrea said the transaction about bank transaction, probably he mean to open account or something.
Yes, you need to book to make an appointment because we are going to be very busy, especially if you arrive in Halifax. We have so many universities and colleges that a lot of students will try to open a bank account. A lot of students will try to set up their internet. Everything will happen in August and September. So if you show up and you say, I'd like to book an appointment, it might take you even 2 weeks. So do your research now, find a bank that you like, send them an email and say, I would like to book an appointment to open an account. And then they will try to fit you in and give you a spot.
Yeah, if you access the webpage of their own, like CIBC or RBC, there is a website page to make a reservation. And last year, in my case, the earliest appointment that I could have is 1 week later. So during the time, I use my local credit card and pay more commission. So I highly recommend you to book in advance. And next question is about the health insurance company to get the contract previous to arrival. So I leave the website page, the health insurance you can get in NS's website. So check the website. And if you need to have any additional private insurance before your semester start, you can also pay for that personally. So you don't need to, but you can have it also in that company. So you can have a look in the webpage. And
As
next
long as you
question.
have some insurance. Because even accidentally breaking a wrist and you need a cast is thousands of dollars. So do not come without having any coverage, or coverage starts from September 1st. So it could be emergency insurance, the link that you showed, anything, but you need to have some emergency plan for sure.
Yeah, I was also considering, do I need to last year? But yeah, nobody knows. And before semester start, maybe something happens. So I also joined personal insurance for a month before my semester start. And hopefully, and fortunately, nothing happened. But anyway, I paid.
Yeah. And they could
And
also
next,
ask you at the border, like at the border, they could also ask you, how do you do you have extra $10,000-15,000 lingering around if anything, if you need emergency? No. So then you need to have insurance. So please invest. It's the best investment that you can do for the first couple of weeks. Yes.
and if I arrive August 30, is it mandatory to have an insurance?
I wouldn't say it's mandatory in the sense that you're not going to be there's a lot of potential to be absolutely in trouble. As I said, anything that happens, it's on you. So at the border, they could ask you how, if you have enough money to cover, or if you have insurance, and then based on that, they might even do a decision of saying not to admit you to Canada. It's very rare, but it might happen. Say that they don't do that, and you go and you stay in those 15 days, anything happens, you're going to pay thousands of dollars. So my answer will be at this point, yes, it's almost mandatory. It's just not perhaps by law, but yes, really, please do have some sort of coverage.
And then next question, Rehab, do you have any additional question? You raise your cyber hand.
Sorry, I didn't unraise it. I forgot.
Oh,
That's
never
okay.
mind. Okay, and next question is it possible to book an appointment for SIN number?
You could apply in three ways. You can apply online, in person, and via mail, but you need to be here. So I don't think that you can book an appointment. You shouldn't make an appointment. Consider that you get your SIN number when you also have a proof of address. So for many students, as immediate as this might be, they really want to get a SIN number as soon as they arrive, they still need a couple of days. So I would say check on the website. I've never seen, it's usually very, very big, like the site, and you can just go in. And if you go in person, you just have to wait maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, the worst, but it should be almost immediate. But yeah, you need to have proof of address before you can apply. So, and you can apply at any place in Access, Nova Scotia. Any community must have one, like they have to have one at least. So you don't need to do this in Halifax to say.
And next one is, do I need to make an appointment with the cell phone carrier when I go get a cell phone plan as well? I heard I need to have a Canadian phone number to open a bank account. Yeah.
Yes, you will. You might be able to open a bank account even without it, and then give it later. Like for some students is the case, but even just to move around, you will really need a working phone number for anything else. So I would say the sooner the better. You could use phone box. The phone number, sorry, the SIM will be delivered to you even in your home country, and then it activates when you arrive at the airport. But mostly, no, you just go into a mall, a shopping mall, shopping center, and you just buy your phone and your SIM, and then it activates. So you don't need to book an appointment for that.
Yeah, it's not so hard to get a USIM in here, but I recommend you to buy USIM in advance in your country before your arrival if it's possible. That makes much life easier to have any emergency call after you arrive in Canada. And that's it. We all covered the questions so far, but if somebody have any additional question, please leave a question or turn on your mic and talk to us. And I left lots of links in the chat room, so please check the links and save all the links for your any further situation and questions. It's gonna be definitely helpful for you guys.
Yeah.
And additional one, do we have to show documents of our NSSC NSCC health insurance document for immigration at the airport?
You might be asked. But as I said, it's not very common, but you might be asked, especially because that you have health insurance through NSCC. That's very easy to prove. But when they know that you're a student and they know that your plan starts from September on, you might have some further questions saying how, if anything happens and is just August, how are you going to pay for those expenses? So it's not a must, but it might. You never know. So it might happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it. We all covered the questions so far from students.
Perfect. Yeah. And I can keep typing if you want to explain more about the Student Ambassador Program, if that was your intention, up to you.
Oh yeah, I want to explain about the International Student Ambassador Program. That is the basically volunteer organized with international students to welcome and help their networking and enjoy the Nova Scotia. So please access the social media account that I left on the chat room, and please be connected with all the information because we are all connected with every part in NSCC for international students. So you can definitely find the good information in here. That is the easiest and quickest way. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in Nova Scotia and hope you prepare well your arrival.
It's
Thank you.
perfect. Yes, I would definitely want to be an international student ambassador if I were to get back in time. Perfect. Yeah.
We have one more question. How do I get this health insurance document, please?
Yeah, so as I said, you could email the benefit office and so they will write something for you, or you could even show you paid for it. So because it's part of your tuition, so it's part of when you're logging into my NSCC and you're showing you have an extract of what you paid for tuitions, it will also show up there. My concern is that sometimes students are asked for emergency travel, so and that any like whenever you're booking your flight, emergency travel insurance that you can do too. You will get a receipt, and that's also something that you can show in case they ask you.
Yeah, another question.
Perfect.
Is there anyone in this meeting who is going to, oh yeah, to Euro campus? If yes, let's contact. We could help each other. Yeah. And I would like to introduce the function of iSend tab. I also highly recommend to download the iSend tab. In iSend tab, you can search your campus and major friend. So you can use the filter function and you can type and you can start to have a chat before you arrive or after arrive here, before you guys have any private connection or number. So yeah, use the iSend tab, please.
Yes, and I think I was just trying to see if I could share an attachment, something probably not now, but there's a function. It's called the chat. So it's not super immediate to understand how the chat works, but if you have the iSend tab with you, you can just open the chat and then there will be an icon that function saying search, and then on the top right bottom, top right bottom, there's some sort of like three lines, like a pyramid almost. So you click there and then you could check for campus. So for you, if I were to check Truro campus and click on apply, I would find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students at least. They're using the chat right now, and then you could just start connecting. We have some Facebook groups as well, I think that you guys can use. Not really these webinars to or sections to to connect. We will close the chat after the meeting is done. So I would really say to connect in other ways, but you definitely can, especially with social media or anything. Yes, or Instagram. Yeah.
I grabbed the link for the iSend chat room explanation function video. Yeah, you guys can check.
Perfect. Right. Just before we leave, I'm going to share my screen one more time, just to be sure that all the students know. You're probably familiar at some stage with the international students page. Keep in mind that getting ready for NSCC has a lot, and helpful tips has basically a lot of the links that we were talking about, like how to get ready You're coming into summer, but then there will be fall and then there will be winter. So just for you to have an idea about what to expect when you're arriving. Banking, we talked about banking. So how do you choose your bank? Wherever you click, it will show you exactly like you will land into the student page, so to say. We talked about packing, so things that you should not forget, how you get in your phone, how it works. If some of you might still be on time to buy a phone plan from abroad, it takes time, about 2 weeks, if not even longer. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions about driving, going to the doctor, groceries, anything will be here. And something I also wanted to show you is the transportation side, because we've spoken a lot about how to, well, a bit at least, how to get to your campus. So this is really what you want to see, like the campus shuttles. And if you're coming with children and families, this might also be useful. Students with families, where do you find childcare, how you enroll your child in school, and so on. So just wanted to be sure that you had it recorded somewhere. That's it. I saved. There's no more questions. We don't really have to keep you here for very long. We know that you're all busy doing many things and getting ready. I'd say I'm not seeing anything new in the chat. Is it? Nope. Perfect. All right then. Theo, thank you so much for being so kind and helping me as usual.
No problem at all.
Perfect. So maybe we can just leave the site, like the webinar, and then make sure that everybody receives the recording and everything.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.